Welcome back. So, I have to ref this car. I already have ref this car. I failed. So anybody dealing with the BS California referee, I'll at least give you guys my experience, where I'm at so far. And hopefully by the end of the video, I will have passed. So, I bought this car 2.5, almost 3 years ago, and it came with a referee. So 2 owners ago, this used to have an EJ20X in it. And I got pulled over and ended up getting a ref ticket. So unfortunately in California, these stupid referee things, they do not just disappear. They will follow the car. So if it doesn't get fixed by the previous owner and they just sell the car, it'll follow to the next owner, to the next owner, to the next owner. And that's what happened to me. So I knew ahead of time, nothing crazy. So when I got the car, the previous owner to me had swapped in the correct engine. It had been rebuilt, so it's basically a fully rebuilt engine. And I basically bought it from him. He was going to referee it, but I got the car for a couple $1,000s less, saying I'll deal with it. I just, I was impatient, wanted the car, no big deal. Then I got the car and everything that they said was correct, that they had swapped in. There were so many things that were wrong. So like the intake manifold was for an STI, not for the Forester. So they would get dinged for that because of the purge solenoid valves are in different locations. And I will get to it later on exactly just how deep they go into these cars for referee, but that would have failed. They had the smog air pump from a newer generation, like 08 plus. So that would have failed. And a couple other things. So I basically, with all the other issues that this car had, I had torn it completely down and I just rebuilt it back up. So basically, fast forward to now, car's done. And so basically, here's the process for anybody that just got a referee ticket and has no idea what to do or how to go about this. So basically what they do is they give you the ticket. Okay, so then all you have to do is you just call. They give you a number on there, you call, you set up an appointment, and you go down to the referee station. That's basically it. Then you sit there with your heart pumping and pounding. You watch, at least in my case, 4 people. It seemed like they were training 1 or 2 of them, but there was 4 people that almost had like a redundancy where one person went in, checked something, and then the next person went in and checked that same thing behind that person. Then the next person checked that behind that. Like basically there was no possible way anybody was going to miss anything because you had 4 people looking over every aspect of your vehicle and they look at everything. Now I failed. I thought I was good to go. I did have a couple, I did a bunch of internet searches on a bunch of different things. And one of the aspects that was always in question was silicone hoses, right? These stupid things. So I had installed the car with these. And I saw a lot of things on the internet that talked back and forth, a bunch of people having their experiences. Some people saying that theirs passed with it, some people saying that theirs didn't. So I just didn't even want to risk it. So I went ahead and just took them off. Put the Oions back on, and anybody who's done the intercoolers on these cars know just how much of a nightmare that factory plastic elbow is to put back on the turbo. It is a PETA. So I thought I was squared away. I thought everything was good. Everything under the hood was pretty much stock, or so I thought, and that was that. So I went, I got the smog done, or the referee done, and they came back, and I failed for 3 things. One of them is the plastic airbox piece that goes inside the fender well. So I do have the stock airbox, but it was missing this piece here, and it was missing the little snorkel. So they failed me for that. So I didn't know, I had it, stupidly I had it. I had bought it just because I didn't want, water from the tires getting into my intake. So I wanted to put it back in. So I ordered it and it was just sitting here. Didn't know that was going to fail me, but it did. So they got me for that. And then, so this is something that hopefully I can tell you guys, and you guys will never have to deal with. I failed for these. These, okay? This little silicone hose vacuum line that went to my bypass valve, the stock bypass valve. That's it. I didn't think a vacuum line, a small little vacuum line, was going to be something that failed me. But this failed me. These were just little, they're silicone, you know, but these were just for the valve cover vents. Technically they didn't fail me for these, but I had asked them, since they failed me for that one, I said, hey, what about these two? Would they fail me for this when I go back? And they said they could. They said, we're not putting it on our list, but you could get failed. So basically, silicone hoses of any sort is illegal. For a referee, at least. Like, if a cop pulls you over and sees those silicone hoses, they're not. I mean, the big ones, they'll probably give you a ref ticket. The little ones, they're not going to give you a ticket for, or they shouldn't. But for referee, for missions, you will fail. You could get lucky and just find a cool guy, and it'll be fine. They even this is I'll tell you the craziness that they go through for the referee. They go through these cars with a fine-tooth comb. They will get underneath your car and inside under the dash, and they will check all the wiring from the OBD2 port to the actual plug to make sure it's not all cut up, spliced. See if you have any sort of trickery going on down there for, like, you know, what used to be a cob and things like that. They go into your ECU and check all of the codes, check to make sure the VIN, they can check to see if it has been flashed before, even though you flashed it back. They will fail you for that. They even were able to check, since the battery had been reconnected, how many cold starts the car has had. Mine at the time was 11 cold starts, and exactly how many miles has been driven, 285 at the time. So I thought that was pretty crazy. What they do is they have a computer and they have a couple printouts of exactly what underneath this hood should look like. And they will literally go through it with a fine-tooth comb and check every little thing. Even if you have just, if the routing is just not exactly correct on, like, the purge valve solenoids, they told me that would have failed me. Thankfully, I just bit the bullet, and almost the only 3 non-OEM hoses that I had on that car when I went in there were those 3 hoses. Everything else was pretty much brand new OEM because I really didn't want to deal with any of that. But yeah, they go through this car with a fine-tooth comb. They were on it for a good 45 minutes just checking everything. The guy, I stupidly, now this is a word of advice, if there's somebody else, if you get there early and there's somebody else getting their car done and you start to conversate, don't say anything about your car in any way, shape, or form. I was just having a conversation with him about this one. You know, he was interested in the car and he was asking me all sorts of questions. And, you know, I told him that I had done a 6-speed swap on this car. Well, when it was my turn, the guy was, I don't want to say kind enough, but for the most part kind enough. He was like, hey, come here. And he sits in the car and he goes through all 6 gears. And once he gets to the 6th gear, he's like, that's not supposed to be there. And I was like, huh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I did a 6-speed swap. Not thinking anything of it. He's like, that could fail you. And that just blew my mind. Thankfully, he called Bar, and Bar told him the only way it'll fail, and this could be in case you have another car that you've done any sort of transmission swap on, is if it is computer controlled. If it is computer controlled, like shifting or whatever, if it is ECU controlled and you change it, you will fail referee. Thankfully, these transmissions are not. They are just, they're independently controlled with little sensors and stuff like that. So this is perfectly legal. I had an immense panic for a little bit because I spent $7,000 on this drivetrain swap, and just the thought of, even for temporary purposes, having to go back, just, I didn't even want to get into that. Anyways, so I'm blabbing on. But basically what happens when you fail is they're going to give you some paperwork, and you have to, they give you a list of everything that went wrong and what you have to correct. And then what you do is, once you correct those issues, which mine were just the 3 hoses and the airbox section, you take pictures and they give you an email address and a little form to fill out. And you basically have to take pictures of the fixes and take a picture of the form that you filled out, and then you send it to them. And then once you send that to them, then they will send you another email, during business hours, whenever they get to it. And then they will allow you to now schedule your second referee test. Now, I'm not sure yet. I will not post this video until I go to the second one, and that way you guys know essentially the entire process as to whether or not they start completely over. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I'm going to have to if they're going to do the full inspection again, or if they're just going to look at the problems that failed. Since everything else passed, I don't know if they're just going to say, okay, that stuff passed. This is what failed. Let me look at those things and me be on my way. So I will update you guys on that. But yeah, this process sucks even more than I thought. They really do go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So good luck to you all. I hope you guys don't have to deal with this, but if you do, good luck. I really hope you kept all your stock parts. She passed. Awesome. Only thing that I didn't know that figured I can add to this video is whether or not you have to do the full inspection again, or if they just check the fixes. They do the full inspection again. So they started from scratch, did the whole smog check, full inspection, but she passed. So I've owned this car for 2.5 years, and this is the first time I've gotten tags for this car. It is amazing. So thank you guys. Catch you on the next one.